Okay, so let me take it like this. You studied commerce, right? So in commerce, when you analyze a business, what are the three statements which are like essential to study a business? If you want to take that up,
Yeah, so the income statement.
yeah,
I'm forgetting the other ones. Oh my God. What am I
the
moving
balance
forward?
sheet,
The balance sheet, right?
and I studied science. What the hell? No, I'm not gonna cut this. I am not going to edit this. Rishabh, no.
Yeah.
The income statement, the balance sheet,
The
and
balance
the
sheet. Profit
profit and
yeah,
loss statement.
P&L. Yeah.
Right, the P&L statement. This is definitely going as the hook of the video.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Rishabh, how's it going?
Hey, bro. It's going good. What about you? How was New Year's?
It was good. It was good. I didn't get as drunk as I thought I would, so that's good. I've grown up.
Bro, did you
But
finish
you
the
were
bottle
partying,
of
right?
Macallan
You had
neat?
a huh?
Did you finish the bottle of Macallan neat that you talked
No,
about?
no.
What is that, bro?
I think my drinking years. I'm way past my drinking years. Now I'm
Right,
just someone who enjoys the drink. I hold the drink
right,
and I don't puke. So that's
right.
my motto for now. But
Okay.
you had a very nice party.
Yeah, man. There are 4 bottles,
Four bottles.
4 bottles and 8 people.
Eight
It's a
people,
good.
4 bottles. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It could be more. It can be more.
Yeah, bro. We had John Bar. It's cheap but very smooth whiskey. It's very nice.
Hmm.
We discovered it this year with my group of friends. It's very nice.
Okay. But
But yeah,
I wonder when we can compare it with the bottle of Macallan that I had. Still not
yeah,
finished,
man.
of course.
Yeah, man. I mean, you cannot compare Macallan with John Bar, man. That's
Yeah.
unfair. That's like
Yeah.
that's like comparing, I don't know, man, Los Angeles with Durgapur. I don't know. So yeah,
I still remember the days when we were in college, and for
mm.
us, a bottle of Imperial Blue was like the peak alcohol, peak
Oh
whiskey.
yeah, yeah. There
Yeah.
was a time, man. We started with Blender Sprite.
Yeah.
It was 500 and all.
Yeah. We would go to the liquor store and everyone
Yeah,
from all walks of life, we would be there.
yeah,
And we didn't feel out of place. The only time we felt out of place was when the guy at the liquor store would ask for the ID. And then, then we would realize, okay, we're in trouble. Otherwise, we never felt out of place. That's a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah. Man, I have an interesting story with like we had a party of friends. It was a BYOB back in school,
Yeah.
and couple of us, not me, but a couple of our friends from the group got caught by a school teacher. It was very, very interesting.
No,
Who
you
was
should
stuck?
have.
Who was stuck in
Yeah.
traffic in front of the
Yeah.
FLF shop at that very moment?
Yeah.
So yeah,
You should have turned it around to the teacher and then asked, "What are you doing here?"
no, he was stuck in traffic. He was very much. He was in a bus, sitting in a bus.
Yeah.
He could see. Yeah, so that
Good old
was
days. Good old days.
yeah, good old days of New Year's and liquor.
Mm.
So yeah, coming to getting to business and everything. So this episode is more about getting how we can save and budget in your 20s and everything. So if you can see, like Sumit has released a video previously on supercharging your finances when moving abroad and everything. So one of the points mentioned there was loans. So like Sumit, what would you like, how would you describe, how loans can impact your early 20s, taking on to loans? And why do you think people, majorly go for it?
Okay. So loans in the typical Indian middle class household, the loan is the villain, right? It's something
Yeah,
that you take out of necessity, and loan is not looked at in a very nice way. But contrary to popular opinion, if you think about it, what is loan or credit, right? Credit is the way in which new money is created in the economy. If you think about it, if people stop taking loans from tomorrow, if nobody is taking loans, how will the new money in the economy be introduced? Just think
yeah,
about it for once, right? So, when somebody is trying to start a business, or they're trying to buy a house, or they're trying to buy a car, or maybe they are going to pay for the iPhone, they generally opt for loans, right? And that is how new money is introduced into the economy. So, loans are essential to any economy in the world.
yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
But the problem arises when most people actually don't know how to use loan for leverage. So loans in other terms can be called as leverage, right? And most people don't use it like leverage. They treat it like a liability. And loans are a liability to us. To the bank, that is the asset. And it's surprising how most people don't realize that. I was talking to my uncles and my dad once, and I asked them, even my friends who are like in their 40s, like, do you realize that for a bank, your loan is the asset and it's not the liability for the bank?
Yeah.
For the bank, it's your savings account, which is the liability because
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
have to pay
Exactly.
money. Most people don't know this. I was shocked because I'm a science student. I didn't study commerce, but I know this. So the problem arises is that people don't understand the power of loans. And if you can use it as a leverage, it can help you a lot. But if you are using it to buy depreciating assets, okay, if you're using it to just experience life, and not worrying about how it will benefit you, then it's a huge pain point. So I think young people need to realize what loans are. They should not vilify loans. It can be tremendous for your life, right? Education loans, tremendous. It's very good. Home loans can be good. Car loan can be good. But you need to understand that why are you taking that loan? Is there a benefit to that, or are you just creating a liability for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think different classes of people essentially view loans in a different way and use loans in a different way. The middle class, the middle class generally they take it when they really need the money. It's come with interest. That's the trap they fall into. The rich class, they don't take loans when they need it. Like they when they are taking a loan, it's usually for something they can buy with their own money, but they don't want it to be taxable. Let's say that puts to be
Yeah,
taxable if
yeah,
it's something to do with stocks and everything. And taking a loan in the situation, basically, essentially, they earn interest. I mean, that it's profitable for them. That's all it is. So
exactly.
the way middle class takes and views and uses loan, that is, I think, a problem. And I think that brings us to the next point
No,
of
I,
conversation.
I have one point on this. So
Yeah,
recently I
sure.
was trying to do an analysis about funding for an MBA, if I ever do one in the upcoming future. Okay. So I went to ChatGPT, I used Gemini to do the analysis for that. Now, what I realized is that despite taking a loan of, let's say, a crore or 1.5 crores from all the big banks in India for funding my MBA, right? I can actually make money by taking a loan.
Yeah, exactly. That's what essentially the idea is. That's how you use loans to your advantage.
Yeah, because let's say
Yeah.
if I have investments worth 1.5 crores, which is generating like 15% per annum. Okay, if I already have that investment and I take a loan in rupees in INR, okay, and I'm paying like 8% or 9% as interest, my assets are actually going to pay for the interest.
Yeah.
And even after that, I'm making like 5% on top. So essentially, the bank is paying me the money to go to college.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Yeah. So these are different ways in which you need to understand how to use loans as a leverage and not to just buy stuff that you're going to regret later. That is essential.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first mistake. I think you talk about this in your last video as well. That's essentially one of the mistakes, five financial mistakes that people make in our age group, in the 20s. Not creating like a financial base, a proper income and savings and everything. So you did talk about, people rushing to invest. There's a FOMO when it comes to investing with all these investment gurus out there and everything. I'm not saying they're wrong, but it's a sales technique that they're falling for, I think, too early on when they don't have a financial base. So you did talk about investment versus income, and people are rushing to invest and not basically try to raise their income. So how do you think that fits into this whole thing of taking loans and
Yeah. One scary thing I heard a couple of my friends back in college, they were discussing about this. They said that, I can take a loan and a personal loan, right? And then I can invest that money in the stock market. So this was way
yeah,
back during
yeah, yeah,
COVID,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
We are,
because the markets had fallen. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the stock market was rallying in 2020. So they thought it's a brilliant idea to actually get a loan,
Yeah,
personal loan, invest that in the markets, and eventually they're going to make like 20% on it. And they can easily pay off the loan and they'll make the money.
yeah, the difference.
Yeah. So this is something scary. Okay. I've seen that happen. And young people, FOMO is something that is so
Mm,
prevalent in society now. I think none of us can escape it. I can't escape it. You
yeah,
can't
yeah,
escape it.
it's very different. It's
We are
not
being
gonna lie.
bombarded all the
Oh
time, right?
yeah, the information, man.
Especially like I saw this, the year ended, right? And every YouTuber was posting videos on how much money they made last year. And it just made me feel like shit. Like, okay, I need to make more money.
Really? Was that a thing? I didn't see this. I didn't
Yeah, yeah,
check.
yeah.
Okay.
You see any YouTuber who's like a
Okay.
influencer or into career or investments, they all
Okay.
released a video of how much money they made last year. What is the current
Hmm.
net worth? Most
Right.
of them, even on Instagram, I saw all the content creators creating such videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So immediately that sense of FOMO is bound to come. Okay.
Man, taking flexing to a new level, I think, Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And I don't mind it. I think it's okay for people to discuss about money so that other people are inspired. But there's a fine line between inspiration and FOMO. So I think young people who have not experienced life as much, to them it is very easy to fall for such traps. So that's why I created the video, right? Do not make those mistakes, the money mistakes. Now, as I said, investing is important, but you should never ever start investing without sorting out the base. And what does that base consist of? It starts off with a good income for sure. But what is crucial is that you should have an emergency fund. You should have life insurance if required, if you have dependents, right? Who have nobody else, and health
Those are the
insurance,
essentials. Those are
the
the essentials.
essentials. This is consisting the base. After that, your investment journey should start. Because tomorrow, if your investments go to zero, where will you fund your emergencies? Right? Your parents
Mm.
might fall sick, you might get into an accident, something bad can happen. Life is uncertain. So you should definitely focus on building that base first. I think a lot of people are very comfortable with their insurance from their company. But I suggest that if it is possible, even if it's like a 2-3 lakh rupees extra coverage that you can get outside of your company sponsored insurance, it's a good idea to get it. I personally am going to try to get one. So I have my own, my dad actually has one health insurance running, right? He maintains that. Since I am an adult now, I do not belong to the same family plan, but he has a separate plan for me. My company has given me a plan, but I am actually planning of getting another health insurance just for myself, right? Apart from my work and apart from my dad's plan, just so that I can stay protected in case something happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I think one of the other topics when it comes to, creating a financial base in your 20s, it's budgeting. The way to do it, it's budgeting. So you did talk about it in your, last video. You're talking about having fixed versus variables. So like how would you, like go explain that to the people who are new to budgeting?
So, how do you analyze your own financial present and your future? How do you do that without doing a budget at first, right? Even the nation, when Nirmala Sitharaman comes and gives out the budget for the nation, budgeting is essential in for any sector in life, right? Be it a nation, be it a company, or be it as a person, as
Yeah.
one person, right? You need to know how much money you're making, how much are you spending, and where is it going. Okay. Now, coming to the budgeting part, you need to analyze what is your fixed expense. You have to analyze that because that fixed expense is going to decide your investment journey. Okay. Now, what am I talking about as fixed expenses? Nowadays, it used to be roti kapra makan. Okay. Where you think about um, your rent, right? Or your house maintenance expense, your food, and maybe the essentials, right? But now, if you think about it, our roti kapra makan has been extended to roti kapra makan, Gari, Netflix, Spotify, Google
Yeah.
Cloud, ChatGPT. There's so many essential expenses that you cannot get rid of. Like I cannot survive without YouTube Premium because I watch so much of YouTube and I regret not getting YouTube Premium earlier. So when I was in
Yeah.
college, I used to, yeah, it would have been so much beneficial. It would have saved me so much time. Anyway, so if you are able to figure out your essential expenses, that way you will know for sure that this is the amount of money that I need to live. Without this money, I cannot survive. Once you know that number, then you can adjust your life accordingly. Because if that number is very, very high, then maybe you need to make some changes.
Yeah,
Or if that
for
number
sure.
is very low, then definitely you can come up. You can try to make your life a little bit more enjoyable. But budgeting is crucial. Without budgeting, you cannot start your investments. You cannot start your financial journey in any sort of way. It is the first
Yes.
step. It is the first step.
Yeah. So I think when I came into this, when I moved to Hyderabad and I found this flat, like the flat. So like, I started handling the expenses of the household and everything. That's there. Apart from that is apart from rent and everything. So what the way I started doing it was I have this sheet, this personal finance sheet that I used to have at my last job. So what happened is what I did was I just created another tab, created a fixed expenses section where I every month, I could have this running balance sheet that I have, and it helps. It genuinely helps. You'll be surprised at how much money you will save because each time you're trying to put down an expense, and you'll be thinking, okay, you know what? No more of this for this month anymore. And yeah, it definitely helps. It definitely helps. It keeps you real and it keeps you grounded. Base facts of your habits and behavior. Yeah, and this habit is it's a very strong, essential habit that you need to build. It's a foundational habit that you need to build if you want to build your wealth, your finance, and grow financially.
Exactly. There's one
Yeah,
point I would like to add on this.
yeah, sure.
Um, since I moved abroad, right, I have seen this conversation taking place in India, which says that, moving abroad is terrible in terms of your money because $100,000 outside, maybe abroad, is like equal to 20 lakhs in India, right? So let me sort this out a bit. Okay. I think this is a bit of a misunderstanding that people have. And the way I realized that was through my budgeting. So any developed country for that matter, your essential expenses are actually very, very high compared to India.
Yeah, yeah.
Your essential expenses. I'm talking about rent, I'm talking about food,
Mm,
I'm talking about transportation, I'm talking about subscriptions. These are much higher than you will find in India. That's a fact. But if you know your fixed expenses, whatever is there on top of it, that potential to save abroad is much higher than India. 1 lakh rupees in India, maybe 20 lakh rupees in India, you'll still have to pay like 30% tax above 12 lakhs, I believe. And after that, all the expenses that you have to make,
mhm.
you will not be able to save more than, let's say, just going out of the box here, let's say 5 to 6 lakhs you can save from
Right.
there, like pure savings. Abroad, even if you make like $100,000, it's not that difficult to actually save like $20,000 from there. And definitely from place to place, it will differ. If I take Singapore into example, if somebody as a bachelor in their 20s is making like $10,000 a month, they can very, very easily save like 5,000, more than easily. Okay. And
Mhm.
5,000 Singaporean dollars is equal to 3.5 lakhs per month
Yeah.
per
Okay.
month.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this advantage that people miss out on, this idea that
Mhm.
everything should be compared with purchasing price parity is incorrect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because once somebody moves abroad in their 20s, it's not they're not going to buy the house immediately. They're not going to buy a car immediately. Like in Singapore, you don't even need a car. Like cars are super expensive here, right?
Yeah.
Crazy expensive. Like an Alto would cost you like 1 crore in
Oh,
Singapore.
jeez.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
So no, like only the wealthy get to buy cars in Singapore
Mm,
because the public
mm.
transport is so nice here. So you don't need it. But the idea that people need to know is that budgeting, that I got to know about this only through budgeting. Had I not done my budgeting, I wouldn't have known, okay, this is the basic expense that I definitely need to survive. And anything on top, I can save, I can invest, and I don't even have to pay capital gains tax. So that's a superpower. So if you want to save more, and if you want to budget and you want to save more, you want to invest more, then probably moving abroad can be very, very beneficial for you. So you might want to check out the video that I'll try to link as the I button somewhere.
Yeah.
Over to you, Rishabh. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, so what you, I think one of the points that you did cover was like, investing maybe can hurt you as well in the long run. I mean, in a way, like there are maybe certain gray areas of investing. There's a lot of investment tips around in this day and age, like everything else, to be very honest. So what could be like, one of the mistakes when it comes to investing, not around the day and age of, but like, core like investing, like what could be the wrong things to invest in this day and age?
The wrong thing to invest in,
Yeah. Basically,
I would say
the should not, what
you
should
should
not
not.
do when it comes to that.
I would say that anything that you do not understand
Yes. It's a
is
good
not to
start.
be invested on.
Yeah, that's a good
If you do
start.
not understand something, don't think that you are an expert. Okay. Somebody who has like spent 20, 30 years of their career trying to analyze a business or trying to analyze some market, commodities or whatever, they are experts at that job. And if you feel like you as a 20-year-old know better than them, then I'm telling you, you are setting yourself up for pain. So whatever you don't have a knowledge in, Warren Buffett calls it the circle of competence.
Yeah.
If something is beyond that, and when you're young, everything is beyond your competence. It will take you a while to actually understand something. It takes years and decades. So if you don't understand something, don't invest. That is a clear thing. Okay. Now, what are the things that you can probably experiment with? Is basically understanding how the stock market works, right? What is cryptocurrency? Why is gold valued? Why are precious metals valued? Why do commodity prices go up and down? Right? You can try to understand about these things. So once you have the basics ready, okay, you know what is a futures option, what is a
Hmm.
call option, put option. You know about these terminologies, right? You know about these products. Now you can make that call. Okay, that this sort of an investment makes sense to me. I understand what it is. I understand what are the risks, what are the pros, and what are the cons, right? Then probably you can start to invest slowly and slowly. But make sure that you understand things first. Just because somebody has given you a stock tip, or somebody is talking
Hmm.
about Tesla stock, or Shiba Inu going up, or going to the moon, so all those things, don't do it. I have done it.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it. It's only going to
Yeah.
give you pain in the long run.
Yeah. That's true. I think, one of the points that you covered in your last video and in this podcast we just about it, was that, not having a solid income, a good enough income, and rushing to invest. I think that's what I had done when I had my first job. So one of the first things that I did with my first big paycheck was, of course, I did buy something for myself. I don't remember what it was. I think it was a digital watch. Yeah. Apart from that, the second thing that I did was invest a massive chunk into the stock market. Yeah. So I,
What did you
so I
buy? Which
think
stock did you buy?
the stocks that I had bought, the market at that time was in a bull run. Okay. I was very new
Hmm.
to investing. I had bought
Hmm.
a different. I don't even remember what are the stocks that I bought because there's a reason for that. So when I bought the stocks, after that I did learn about investing and I did take a course, life course, of the markets and everything, of actually investing, of being a trader. That's when I actually learned how everything works. So that what happened is I realized what I had done. Okay, the market was in a bull run. Okay, I was seeing the stocks. The exact things that you talked about. I have done those exact things, so I can speak from experience.
Yeah.
I opened up like what were the good stocks to invest for this upcoming week and this and that, and I just went and bought the stocks at the one of the highest the pricing were. So what happened after that is I realized the mistake that I had done. And after that, I got a little bit literate in these terms. I did buy stocks after that, and I did trade after that, but I never went back to even look at those stocks. I don't want to look at what those stocks were, how much they're
Are
valued
they
at right
still in
now.
red? Are they still red?
They're not all red. I just had, I think 2 months ago, I had just opened it and just closed it. I don't want to look at them. I think there were 5 to 6 stocks. I think
Yeah.
four were in green and two were in red, something along those.
No, actually, like
But
considering
in
that
total net invested, I was in the red. So yeah,
in green, right?
in red.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
bad. Then bad.
yeah, for sure.
No, like I I I knew for a fact when I started my investment journey way back in
Hmm.
2017, my first year in college. I knew for a fact that I don't know how to analyze businesses.
Yeah,
I was still trying to learn. And then I knew that I can safely invest my money in the large caps. I don't want huge growth, right? So I went for like the usual suspects in India, which is Reliance,
hmm,
HUL, ITC. So such big stocks. I made money, but I lost a lot of money also in other stocks, which I bought because they were very popular, right? So they became suddenly everybody was talking about it. A lot of hype happened. I remember I got the IPO for Nika and all, and I lost
okay,
money on Nika. Okay, so I experienced that. But surprisingly, the investment which performed the best for me, that I did not even have to work hard on, was the mutual fund that I was investing
yeah,
in,
yeah.
right? So every month I would give like 1,500. My capital was so low at that time. So
Hmm.
2,500, 3,000 rupees per month, I was doing an SIP, right? That outperformed all my others, like direct equity investments that I had made.
Right, right.
And then I realized that if you are somebody who is not full time into analyzing businesses, don't even bother trying to get into
Yeah.
the market like that. Just simply do an SIP in a broad market fund and just go with it. Like for instance, as I said in my video as well, and I'm following a very simple strategy right now. I just invest in four funds. I invest in the S&P 500 because primarily I
Okay.
invest in the US markets now. So S&P 500, one ETF, the tech stock ETF, the Nasdaq
Okay.
100 ETF. Then I have invested in gold and Bitcoin. And that too all ETFs with very low expense ratio, minimal effort, minimal pain.
And I
That's
think
my investing philosophy.
that's the smart thing to do right now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the simplest thing
That's
to
the way
do.
to do.
It looks boring, but it's the easiest thing that anybody can do.
Yeah, that's the thing, people go for the things that look interesting, so that it can be a story time for them. That's
Yeah,
not how it works, if you really want to
yeah.
be, yeah, consistent and all that, yeah, it doesn't work like that. But yeah, speaking of the first big paychecks and everything, what did you do with your,
So because I was always into saving money, I was
mm,
like, I think I'm very proud to tell everyone that I'm very money minded. Okay, I don't mind
mm,
telling people that because I think most of us want money, right? Everybody wants money. It's just that some people are okay to admit it. Some people hide it. But I think money is something essential for everyone. And I started my investing journey, as I said, in my first year of college. So eventually, when I got into my first job, right, in 2021, I just continued my same SIPs, right? It's just that whatever money I used to invest in the beginning, I could just ramp up those investments, the monthly investments, by that much. But I saved the money as well, which was extremely helpful for me when I got this opportunity to come to Singapore, to move to Singapore. So I used the savings then. Eventually, I had to sell off all my investments because as an NRI, I cannot hold Indian stocks using my resident Demat account. But yeah, it was just like that. Very simple, very boring, but it did do me well. I made quite a bit of money when I sold off.
yeah, that's a good good story on your first investments and everything. I don't think a lot of people get that lucky, to be very honest.
Yeah.
Consider giving myself as an example. I don't think a lot of people get that lucky.
As a matter of fact, you'll be shocked
Yeah.
to hear this. I actually made money in Bitcoin both times in 2017 and 2021.
Mm.
So when the markets were rallying, I invested a bit of money. I enjoyed the rally, and then I was able to sell it off just when the peak ended. So just when it was
Okay.
about to crash,
Okay.
I just sold off
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
stuff. And
Ooh,
I partied a lot with that money. I still remember
that's nice.
2017 and again I think when the market rallied in 2020 2021. So after that I was away from Bitcoin for a very long time, but now I see that it has proven itself in a way,
Yeah.
right? It has become like the digital gold of the new century. So I'm okay to have a speculative bet on Bitcoin, but a very small portion of my net worth.
Right.
I won't invest too much into it.
Yeah. So yeah, the I think the next topic that I want to dive into essentially is basically I have been seeing a lot of posts on social media regarding working getting a job offer from a big four. So the posts generally go like this, like if you get a job offer from a big four, do yourself a favor and resign or
Don't go
something
for it.
like that.
Yeah.
Don't go
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? What are your views on that?
It's a very simple thing. Okay.
Mm,
I always tell this to people. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Okay. I say this to everyone. Yeah. And in the typical Indian middle class household, hard work is very much looked after. Hard work is something that everybody's encouraged to do. What people don't realize is that a lot of people reach very high up in their lives without doing any hard work only because they have good connections, right? And most middle class families, we don't have connections. We don't know anybody who is like a hotshot executive or has network, right? So your network is your net worth. Okay, people need to realize this. And how else is one guy or one girl from a tier 2, tier 3 city supposed to build a network in these big cities? I think joining a big four firm, which are the most famous firms in all over the world, right? If you can get that exposure through these big firms, I think it's an amazing stepping stone for anybody's career. The kind of work ethic that you learn, the exposure that you get, the projects that you get, right? The clients that you get to interact with. That I think is of immense value, which is very looked down upon. I think the people who say that don't take that offer are speaking from a point of privilege because they might have some contact or the other in some other boutique firm. Good for them. There's nothing wrong with that. If they have that leverage, they should use it. But for the vast majority of people, these big four companies are actually a boot because they get to learn so much more. I understand that the work might be a little grueling at first. It might be quite tough at first. But trust me, if you want to do something worth it in your life, in your career, you have to take that heat at the very beginning, right? I think
You need to
taking the
let that
heat and
heat shape you. That's what it's supposed to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
because when you join the
Else,
workforce, you know nothing.
yeah.
And these companies are taking you in, they're training you,
Mm.
right? They're giving you that opportunity. Nobody's asking you to stay there for your life. But if you can learn from them, if you can, give that experience back to them as well, I think it will do wonders for your career. What is your opinion on this?
Yeah. So as I was saying, I don't think it comes from apart from the privilege part being there. I don't think the other thing of having, networks in other boutique firms and everything, it comes from that. It's mainly because I have been in these crowds and I have seen the thing that it comes from. And it comes from only one thing. It was a point one. Privilege. That's it. They genuinely don't understand how lucky they are to be working in a big four as a first job. I mean, bro, like I have not worked in one of the big fours as a first job. So I have seen firsthand how bad it is out there. So when people complain, because it's your first job, it's not supposed to go the way of your college has been or your school has been, man. It's
Yeah,
it's it's real life. It's the real world. This is adulting. I'll be very honest. Politics go on in every firm, in every corporate. If you want to watch shows on politics, if you want to see how bad politics can actually get in big corporations and big conglomerates, watch Succession, watch Billions. I mean, you'll see how bad it really gets. So yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like, I mean, it comes from privilege and it comes from venting and complaining too much about the small things which really don't matter in the long run. In the big picture, it really doesn't matter. And I think people, they talk about it and they make it bigger. It's as simple as that. They
yeah. I think on this one, I would like to just add to your point. It reminds me of that dialogue by Siddhant Chaturvedi in one of the interviews where where this Ananya Pandey said that मैंने life में बहुत struggle किया है, right? And then
yeah,
सिद्धांत चतुर्वेदी says that जहाँ सपने
struggle.
जहाँ इनके struggle शुरू होते हैं वहाँ
लोग
हमारे
के सपने
सपने
खो रहे थे. Yeah,
so when people say that it sucks to work for Big Four, they are talking from privilege for sure.
yeah, yeah. So basically, Sumit is calling all of you guys Ananya Pandit.
You have to realize it's a
Yeah, that's true.
superpower.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
For someone who
yeah.
has never worked in the corporate sector, right?
Hmm.
You it's incredibly tough for some people. Nobody in my family has ever worked in a corporate office before. I'm possibly the first one in my family. The fact that I can talk to people now. At first, I used to feel so nervous talking to people because you have all these big hot shots, in their suits and their ties, and they're all these multi-millionaires and
Hmm.
companies which are dealing in billions of dollars. And here
Hmm.
I am from simple college, right? So talking to them, giving them a solution and presenting to them, it is very, very tough. But the fact that some company is willing to bet on you,
Yeah,
give you that opportunity,
yeah,
that is priceless.
yeah,
You should be thankful for that.
yeah. I mean, I think people today have become a little too comfortable with complaining about practically everything, and that
Yeah.
it drives you into a different mindset, which really doesn't promote your growth. To be very honest, it doesn't help you in any aspect of your life. And yeah, I think you just need to buckle up and start listening and acknowledge the fact that this here is a part of your life that you don't know anything about. This is adulting. Your college life is over, man. That the training period of the tutorial part of your video game called life is over. That's what it is. I think that's the fact that people don't try to understand that they have to learn a different set of rules all over again. And some of those even might contradict with the things that you have learned before. So yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what it is.
No, let me add just one point to this that we are not saying that everything is hunky dory. Okay. We are
Yeah,
not
for
saying that
sure.
everything is perfect.
For
Okay.
sure.
In our last podcast, I mentioned that the work culture in India has a lot of scope to improve. And We do not discount that fact. We know that. We have dealt with all the politics and all the crazy stuff, right? We have done that. What we are telling you is that nothing is just black or white. Everything in life, everybody in life is just a shade of gray. You
Yeah.
need to recognize the bad things as well as the good things. So here, what we are trying to highlight to you is that surely you have a lot of things to complain about, but look at the bright side of it. Look at
Yeah.
whenever you're trying to get a job or something, try to see what can you extract from that, right? Even if you're talking to a new person, try to see what are the good things in them, what are the good qualities, and what are the negative qualities that you can just ignore. Take, imbibe all the good things, and just move forward in life. That is what we're trying to highlight.
Yeah, so this reminds me that if you've watched the series Suits, there's one scene between the main protagonists, Mike and Harvey. So Harvey asks Mike, with this job, is your life better or is it worse? Mike replies, it's both. Then Harvey replies saying, well, then focus on the good. That's what it is about, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's how you go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that hot shot Harvey Specter that you see, he
Yeah.
also started somewhere where he was treated like
Mhm.
crap, right? He has dealt with so much of crap that he has now become this expert.
Yeah.
Even for me, right? When I move to a new country, new job, new industry, new technology, I had no idea. And the concept is you jump into the ocean and then you learn how to swim.
Yeah.
So I understand that it's very painful at first, but everybody goes through that. And like a butterfly, that metamorphosis will happen to you, right? If you work hard, if you are focused, dedicated, it will happen. And you will reach that point where now you get to decide what will the direction be of any organization. And then maybe you can make those changes. But you need to reach there first. Just
Yeah.
because you are new and the whole organization should change to your whims and fancies, that is impractical, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's naive. That's one naive way of thinking about things. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's this other thing that I wanted to talk about. I was actually interestingly having a conversation with my ex-boss from my last company a couple of days ago,
Mm,
and
mm.
so is he was born in Hyderabad, and then he moved about and went into different cities, and ironically he's in Kolkata right now, and I'm in Hyderabad. It's like we've switched cities, you know, taken birth in. So I was talking to him about the new side of Hyderabad and how the new Hyderabad is so amazing and all the fancy stuff. Since he hasn't been in Hyderabad for a long time, so he was very amazed and wowed. But he did give me his take on like why he did not like the new side of Hyderabad. It was a very interesting topic of conversation, and we were having a healthy debate for about like an half an hour or so. So the thing that he was arguing, the point that he was arguing was that he had a grandfather. So he generally lived in Udaipur, mainly lived in Udaipur. So he had a grandfather who had this, huge library where he had like, tens and thousands of books. And he used to like read all day, like morning till day and night. He was reading all day. Like, and his main point of argument was that people back then were happy. And when you were modernizing so fast and everything, you are taking away a part of the culture of an old charm that has that happiness comes with. So what do you think, what do you think could be the counter argument points? Because I we did have a half an hour debate. I just want to know your opinions on it. What would your counterpoints on be?
I think you should be able to give a lot of counterpoints on this because
Yeah.
the city we are from, which is
Yeah.
Calcutta, it's a
Mm.
beautiful city. Let me not bash Calcutta or Kolkata. It is a beautiful city, no doubt. It has a very rich history. But the problem is that most people in Calcutta are stuck in that historical time. I think
Yeah.
just like it is important to remember our history, our past, be proud of that, it is equally important to realize that we have to progress. If there is no progress, then there is nobody going to be left to actually preserve the history,
Yeah.
right? You build a huge museum to hold all your treasures from the past. But if there is no funding to actually preserve those objects, right, to maintain the museum, is it going to last? I think the answer
Yeah.
is no.
Yeah.
And the problem with this sort of a mindset is that, you know, it's a very common story, okay?
Mm.
That there used to be a zamindar with a
Mm.
lot of money and wealth and power. He had like 10 sons, right?
Mm.
Those 10 sons were very complacent. They took everything for granted. They did
Mm.
nothing and they eventually lost all their money. It's a very common story. It's a ghar ghar ki kahani, right? It's the same problem. It is
Mm.
exactly the same problem, just scaled up to the city.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what I would say is that this problem, this debate is a little bit pointless. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah,
we need
for
to do
sure.
is that we realize that surely the past is good. We should reminisce the past and be
Mm.
happy, but we should focus on progress and the future as well, is what I would like
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a tale of two cities, right? Like if you take Hyderabad on one side, right? Take Kolkata on one side. Both cities come from rich histories of their own pasts and everything. Then you have Kolkata, which essentially demonized and ostracized modernizing and business and tech and everything. And then you have Hyderabad, which has embraced it. And you can see the difference in the two cities from the past 20 years. That's essentially it, I think. Hyderabad's Rangareddy district right now has the highest per capita income, in the whole of India. That speaks essentially for the entire thing. Having your, I feel like having your culture and happiness. That's definitely. I'm not gonna argue totally against that. Absolutely, because that's at the end of the day, that's what makes us who we are. That's what separates us and differentiates us, you know, from everyone else, from the people from the different places of the earth. You should have a culture for sure, but I think to get there, to have that luxury, you need money. When it comes to money, today's day, I mean, the definition of happiness has changed. In this day of capitalism, money is happiness. I'm going to
No,
be very honest.
not just happiness, but rather money is required to sustain everything. You cannot
Yeah,
sustain anything with money. All the people from Calcutta who reminisce the past and are very glad about it, they are all working in Hyderabad or Bangalore or Mumbai. So if you need to go somewhere else to just get yourself 2 meals a day, then maybe your plan is not working out, right?
yeah,
As a matter
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
fact, and it's a very ironical point, I think I heard this from Sanjeev Sanyal in one of his podcasts. He mentioned that Lee Kuan Yew, the first prime minister of Singapore, basically the one who got Singapore into the place where it is now.
I
He
I have
had
seen this. Yeah,
he actually wanted to model Singapore after
yeah.
Calcutta.
After Calcutta, yeah.
Kolkata was the model for Singapore, and
Hmm.
now look where Kolkata is and where Singapore has reached.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's a very painful. It's a fact that hurts me
yeah.
personally.
It's a sad state of affairs. There's no other way of saying it. You
Yeah,
can deny it, you can be in denial about it, but it won't change the actual facts. That's
and
essentially what it is.
all my friends who were very like boastful about Calcutta being the best city on earth, they all left, right?
Yeah.
And none of them have come back. None of them have any plans to come back because maybe they were coming from a place of ignorance at first. Maybe they had no idea what is happening in the rest of the country. But once they move out, they realize, okay, every place apart from Calcutta has actually progressed, and
Mhm.
Calcutta has stayed back in the past.
In the time.
It becomes something that they cannot deny. It becomes like
Yeah.
a fact.
Yeah, that's I think very nicely summed up. So yeah, I mean, talking about financial opportunities, going outside and leaving your hometown, what would you say? I think switching gears now, coming revisiting one of the topics from your past videos, what would you say? Like are the financial opportunities that come with working abroad, let's say, like outside India. Like you did talk about the FX advantages. So talk more about it.
So definitely, I
Yeah.
have elaborated how moving abroad can actually absolutely revolutionize your financial life. That's a fact.
Mm.
One of the key aspects of that is the forex advantage
Yeah.
that you get. So take into account any strong currency, any currency from a developed country, right? The rupee has been depreciating. And if you have
Mm.
plans to actually have a base in India at some point, then moving abroad can be tremendous because even if you save the money in your bank account, right? And the interest rate is not very high compared to, I think in India, bank accounts usually give like 2-3% a year, right? At
Mm.
minimum. Abroad, it is not that high. It is like 1.5 to 2% max. This is the max high yield savings account, right? But
Mm.
even if you get that, if you add like a 5% depreciation every year, you're essentially making like 7% per annum. It is
Yeah.
as good as getting a FD in India.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's say you get into investments of some sort. Let's say you invest in the stock market. If your markets are generating like 10 to 15% per annum, you add another 5% on top. So at the very
Mm-hmm.
minimum, you can make like 10-15% per annum. And at the very maximum, you're making like 20% per annum. If you see the last 3 years, the S&P 500 and your INR returns, it's like 21%.
Okay.
Nifty returns. It has beaten your Nifty returns. It has beaten your Sensex returns. So it's like a superpower that people have,
Right. Yeah.
right?
So I was, while preparing for this, I was thinking about this point that we talked about, the FX advantage that you have. So talk to me like, give me an average household monthly income versus spend versus saving.
Okay. So I can talk about normal household in India.
Yeah.
In Singapore. Now, I'll focus mainly on bachelors, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, yeah, so I don't have a family yet. I'm not married. So it would be
Mhm.
unfair for me to comment on some families. Maybe I can give a guesstimate, but let me talk about bachelors first, right? So in Singapore, you can either get a whole house for yourself or you can actually
Mhm.
go for one room in a condo or in a HDB. So the government housing is called HDB, right? For for a full apartment, maybe it will cost you like 3,000 to 3,500 max, right?
Mhm.
And let's say let's stay in a condo and I don't have to take the full apartment. I'm very happy with my master bedroom where I have my own bathroom and everything. It's like a 1 BHK in a way, right? I pay somewhere around like in the range of 2,100 to 2,300, right? It depends. Considering all of this, you have food, which will set you back like 500 to $700 a month. And then you have your transportation, which is like $50 a month. All in all, right? You have your internet that you need to pay for. You have your subscriptions, etc., etc. Your basic living expenses will for an average bachelor would be somewhere around the range of 2,800 to 3,500 per month, somewhere within that range, right?
That's a
I
basic
fall
living
into the
expenses.
that is the basic living expense. In INR terms, it can seem very large, right? So if I say
Yeah.
3,000, that is almost like
1 lakh
2.1
90.
lakhs per month. Yeah. 2.1 lakh per month. It seems very, very high, but think about it. A basic salary for a good job in a country like Singapore will be around 8,000 to 10,000 per month, right? So I'm saying this is the basic expense. Of course, you need some bit more for your leisure activities as well. You might want to go out for some drinks and you might want to buy
Mhm.
some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Easily, you can save like $5,000 per month. Easily,
So that's like per month you're saving like
you're
around the
saving.
average of $5,000.
Yeah.
So this
And
this is
and
one. Yeah.
yeah,
Continue.
just one more point is that your expenses can be as high as you want. It is up to your discipline that decides
Yeah.
that. But if you see the basic expense as you asked is would be around somewhere around this range in Singapore.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And
see
I'm
this.
talking very high end. Okay. Like this is
Uh,
like somebody who's like living in a fancy apartment,
uh,
taking some cabs and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. So what you're saying is like essentially having basic discipline and saving skills. You don't need to do the budget like hardcore budgeting and going into the nitty-gritties of everything. It's basic discipline. So that's
Exactly.
making you end up save around like $5,000. So if you convert that to INR,
No, I save a
that's
lot more than that
That's a
for
good way to
sure.
go about it. Yeah, that's a good way to go
Yeah.
about it. I like that. So if you take that convert that into INR, so that's like 3 lakh 50 fortnight. That's 50, 3 lakh 50. I mean, think about it. Think about it.
Yeah.
I think when you're saving, that's I think where the FX rate advantage kicks in like the most. That's where I don't know, man. This helps you build like crazy wealth. And I think there is another aspect or perspective that I found myself to. Please confirm if it's like true or not. We essentially originally are from here. We have our parents and our family here. So when let's say taking your example, when you are ending up saving 5,000 Singaporean dollars per month, that's like 3 lakh 50 per month. So the expenses that you have to mainly take care of outside of your expenses in Singapore pertain to the people who are living here. This is
Exactly.
this 3 lakh 50 is the amount that you'll be able to help them with. So I think
Exactly.
that's one perspective that you need to take it, no, look at it from.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think? What do you think?
Definitely. So the remittance is what you're talking about, that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all the Indian expats do. It can go a long, long way. There's a
Mm,
reason why people who are not from the organized sector, who actually choose to end up becoming as contract workers and laborers, and they end up going to all these foreign locations because maybe in India they would make like 5,000, 6,000 rupees a month. Abroad they
right.
can make like 50,000. For them, that amount is huge. So if you come to more advanced knowledge workers, surely we earn a lot more. for a fact. And if you think about it, if you have dependence in India, it can definitely go a long, long way, right?
Yeah.
And there are different advantages, right? A lot of this money is not going to be taxed,
Mm,
even if you send it to India, because we have the non-resident external account. It is completely repatriable. There is no taxation. It's only your Indian income that is taxed when it goes to your NRO account. But you can help out your old parents. You might have your siblings that you can help out. So yeah, it
yeah,
goes a long
that's
way.
yeah,
And in
that's
your early 20s, in your mid 20s, if you're saving 5, 6 lakhs per month,
hmm,
just think about it. Like by the time you end, you reach your 30s, you should have like close to 3, 4. Like if you are a very good, very disciplined person and financially disciplined, you can end up with like 3, 4 crores in your bank,
hmm, yeah,
right, of net worth. And if you can do it till you're 35, you're looking at like 10% because your compounding will also take effect.
yeah,
So
yeah,
10
yeah,
plus crores of your net worth.
yeah. That's a million plus US dollars, man. Think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way to go about it, definitely. So the other point that I wanted to visit and ask, watching your last video was like so moving abroad, there will definitely be moving abroad or moving from away from your hometown. There will be surprise costs, surprise
Hmm.
expenses that you don't know about
Hmm.
initially when moving in. So abroad, outside India to Singapore, what were your surprise expenses, costs?
So Singapore is perhaps the most
Yeah,
expensive, one of the most
think
expensive places on earth, right?
I think I asked the right
And
person the right question.
and the first shock that hits you is the deposit that you need to do
Mm,
for your apartment, right?
right.
Typically, it is for a 1 year contract, you need to give a 1 month's deposit, a 1 month rent's deposit. If it's a 2 year contract, then 2 months. It's typically like that. For this apartment that I am staying in for the last 1.5 years, I had to pay like 1.5 months of rent as deposit. That amount uh, can can be shocking at first because if you think about it, if I'm paying like $2,500 and 1.5 months, you can imagine the sum of money. We are talking in lakhs, right? 2, 3 lakhs. We just give it out like that. So, and that is security deposit. So when I came here, I remember I was paying like 1,800
Mm,
for my first
mm,
apartment in Marina Bay, and it was a common room, and I had to give that as my security deposit. At that time, the dollar rate was around 50, 55, if I'm not wrong. So that's what. Let me see. 1,800 times 55. That was 1 lakh rupees. And on top of that, you need to pay your stamp duties. So I was paying like
mm,
that. For this one, 2,500 plus 2,500 into 70. For this one, it will be close to 2.7 lakhs. Is that you have to just pay out just like that. It's a security deposit. You're
yeah,
not going to get it back for 1 year
yeah,
or 2 years.
yeah,
So that is the first shock, the initial cost. Whenever
yeah,
you move abroad, every time you do a transaction, something that costs like $5 or $6, you can't help but compare the currency, right? You will convert the currency in your mind. You'll be like, damn, it's so high, right? For a
mm,
pack of chips, it will cost you like $5. You
yeah.
convert it to Indian currency, it's 350 rupees.
Oh
So
my,
that's going to hurt at first, but when you start earning in dollars, it just becomes part of your life. Now you start
yeah,
thinking in dollars. Now when you go back to India, everything feels cheap.
yeah, for sure.
It's just $5, it's just $6. It doesn't hurt. So the mentality changes.
Yeah. That's one thing. That's what
Yeah.
we did learn a couple of things from that. So the other thing, I think this should be the last talking point of this podcast. So you did mention investing when it comes to investing in yourself in your 20s. Let's talk about it. So why don't you
Yeah.
take that off? Yeah.
Sure. So I belong to a typical middle class family, right? For us, studies was the only thing that mattered.
Mm,
Sports was something that you can do, but it's not required. It's not compulsory, right? And if you forget sports, there was no physical activity that was done. So when I graduated from college, then COVID came. I was staying in my house, not focused on my physique at all. I gained a lot of weight, right? I gained a lot of weight like crazy. I used to have a huge tummy and I was always thin. The thing is, I was always thin. And suddenly
yeah.
I became like very unhealthy. Then I started getting all sorts of pain. My knees were hurting like crazy because my body wasn't used to like carrying that sort of weight. Suddenly I had gained weight. And then I started having all these problems when I was sleeping. I was
Mhm.
somehow having sleep apnea as well. I remember
Oh,
snoring a lot. Okay. I started getting all these health issues one after the other. And it was shocking to me because since I was always thin, the idea that I can also become a little healthy or overweight was not something that I could register, but that ended up happening. And I realized that no, this cannot go on because, and I think the prime reason why I was motivated to make that change in my life was after moving to Singapore, I saw people in their 60s, 70s, so fit. Everyone, you see it in the morning, you see it in the evening. Everyone is running,
mm.
they are cycling, they are focused on keeping their best shape, they're eating properly, right? In India, like, I was always eating because apparently we're all supposed to
Yeah,
eat 5 6 meals a day,
snacking. Yeah,
snacking all the time,
yeah. That's a
and
separate
everything is carb heavy.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, everything is carbs, there's no protein. You eat one egg and some one piece of fish and you consider that as your protein intake as complete. I think most people
Mhm.
don't realize 80 grams of protein is your basic requirement.
Yeah.
And I don't think Indians are fulfilling that. It's a well known
No.
fact now.
Yeah, I mean,
So then
one bowl of dal is considered to be a good source of protein. It's nothing, to be very
you
honest.
ask people what is a essential amino acid and what is a non-essential amino acid. I don't think most people know that, even though they studied it in school. I think people have forgotten. Anyway, so I came here. I saw everybody's fit. I am the one who felt out of place. I started to join the gym. I learned how to swim a bit. Right. I go for cycling. So all these different activities, walking in Singapore, you have to walk. Don't have any other option. You have to walk to different places, right?
Mhm.
And it's so convenient. You have walkways, you have underpasses, everything is so nice. So that was a huge change in my life, which I wish I would have done much earlier because
Mhm.
now I'm reaching my 30s, right?
Mhm.
I'm almost close to my 30s now. And it will be harder for me to actually build up the muscle that I could have built up when I was younger. Right. So now I'm trying desperately hard to build my muscle. I don't know if I'm that strong enough yet, but I'm trying my best to get some muscle mass in me. And I will try my level best that if I ever get married, if I ever have children, I will try to get them into fitness at the very young age. That
Yeah,
I will tell,
for
I
sure.
will actively work on this aspect. Because one thing I realize that no matter how much money I have, it will be pointless if I don't have health. It will be absolutely pointless. There's no point to making any money then.
So,
And I'm trying
uh,
to do it for my parents. So
yeah,
it's very hard. Indian
it's
parents,
very hard. It's very hard.
they
It's very, very
consider
hard.
walking inside the house as exercise. So it is very, very hard to actually explain to them what is real exercise. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying my best.
when it comes to this, I think I have had a very different journey. So I have been into working out since school, since we practically knew each other. I have been into working out and everything. But growing up, I did take a hit in the discipline when it came to working out, being regular and consistent, as it happens, like, with different events in your life and everything, and injuries. I had a huge back injury a couple of years ago, right after COVID. I had fallen down a couple of stairs, and that's when the first break in discipline came. I could not properly work out for myself. I had to do workouts to be able to walk, physiotherapy and stuff. It was a huge thing. That's when I first fell out of discipline and routine from my routine that I had been for years of my life. And after that I started my first job and everything. So that break in routine and discipline of my daily life change, I think that's one thing I have adapted to better throughout this last year. I have started working out more. And because every day in your office won't be the same. You won't
Mm,
log out at the same day every day
mm,
if you have responsibilities and everything. And that thing I'm trying to balance. And yeah, I'm trying to work around that. But yeah, definitely. Now I do see a change. Previously, back in school, when I was in that routine and the discipline state, regardless of whatever came my way, man, I worked out. So
yeah,
right now, that's different because you can understand it. A sedentary
that's a fact.
lifestyle,
That's a fact.
that a sedentary lifestyle does have changes in your body.
Yeah.
You are not the same. When you were in
In
your
school,
teens,
you
you will
get
never
that
be the same.
time to actually dedicate to this.
Yeah,
When you join the workforce, it's
yeah,
much harder to do it.
yeah.
But I have a pro tip for everybody else. I think working out in the morning is perhaps the best idea. I'm not a morning person. I'm a complete night owl, right? I can stay
Uh,
awake as much as I want all night, but waking up early morning is my kryptonite. But actually waking up in the morning, going to the gym, first thing that you do
Mm.
in the morning is the best thing that you can do, because it will
Yeah.
actually free up the rest of your day. So maybe if you're struggling with your fitness, you can try this out.
Yeah. I mean, right before I came to Hyderabad, I had this routine. So I used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, on 3 days of the week. I used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I wait a park nearby. I started going for a run in the morning. It was chilly winters and it was very, very chilly. I started going out on 3 days of the week, and on alternate days, I used to go for a run. And the other alternate days, I used to work out at home, do weight training exercises. On Sunday, I used to rest. So this was my morning routine for before I came to Hyderabad. What I had noticed, the main change that I had noticed being in that regiment was the energy levels in the morning. Man, everyone when they get to the office, they're still sleepy. So your day has peaked. At that time, you're at peak energy levels when the day
Hmm.
the working day starts,
Yep.
and you can get a lot of productive work done very fast, and you can free up more time for yourself. Maybe go home early because you finished your work early. It's a butterfly effect, man. Like it works like that, and it's insane. It does insane things for your health. So yeah,
Exactly. I
that's
agree with that.
yeah. Investing in yourself is it's a very good point that was brought up by you in the
Learn
last
about
video.
food. If you
Yeah,
just
diet.
exercise, diet,
Yeah.
people need to learn about food.
Mm,
Okay, what are your macros, what are your micros, right?
mm,
Why you need certain food items, you might be allergic to certain other food items. Learn about it,
yeah,
understand it. Just because you studied in your biology class doesn't end it there. Apply it in your real life. You realize that how much protein do you eat. Even if you're
yeah,
not exercising, please increase your protein intake in your diet. You might be a vegetarian, you might be a non-vegetarian, but there are different avenues. Like I, for example,
yeah,
I get all these acne if I take whey protein. So I opt for vegan protein when I make my protein shakes, right? So you have all these alternatives. Try to learn about it. Try to have a new hobby, because when you reach your 30s, all your friends are married or they are doing
yeah,
something else. You're going to feel very lonely. So invest
yeah,
on yourself by inculcating a new habit or new hobby. And yeah, we wish everyone the best. So that is the aim for this podcast, right? We want people
yeah,
to try out new things and realize that whatever we missed out on in our early 20s, whatever we regret not doing, we don't want anybody else to do, right?
yeah,
We want other
definitely.
people to actually not make that mistakes. And that is the goal for this podcast.
So, yeah, I think that brings us to the end of today. What do you think, Sumit? Should we talk
Yeah, yeah.
more? Or have
No,
we
I
given them
think
enough content?
we have given them enough content about money
Mm,
and investing in yourself. And I wish that you take some lessons out of this podcast today. And thank you for joining us, listening to us. I'll link some video about how to avoid 5 essential money mistakes in your 20s in somewhere in this video. So if you want to learn what are the mistakes that you need to avoid in your 20s, go and watch that video. And thank you for joining with Sorted with Sumit and Rishav, where we sort out your life one video at a time. Thank you. Bye bye.